So the Portland Trailblazers continue to be one of my favorite topics. 3-6 right now. There's probably a move that they can make this season. They have a pretty massive void at power forward now with Zach Collins' injury. Rodney Hood just had some back spasms. Hopefully he's back because they kind of really need him now. So let's talk about this whole thing. Before we get into all like the numbers and all that, I will say, watching these guys, there is this level of energy that is kind of missing that you would always get from watching a Blazers game where, you know, last night against the Nets with Dame having 60 points, the team just seemed kind of dead. Like there wasn't a whole lot of spirit in them, and body language can be tough. I mean, I might have just been reading into nothing, but that is a feeling I have gotten with these guys. They've just been a little flat, and maybe that's due to the roster turnover. I mean, between Aminu, Harkless, Seth Curry, Nurkic's injury, there are a lot of new dudes, and I was fine with letting Aminu walk because I just think he, at a certain point, his lack of an offense would just do more than anything else. But he was still around for a while, and you could say something similar about Seth Curry, Mo Harkless, and whatever else. But this is the team they have, right? But again, that combined with Nurkic's injury, okay, it can lead to just dudes not being as familiar with what they're supposed to do out there. I mean, Hazonia had that problem before he got to the Blazers. Like, what do I do? Do I shoot? Do I pass? Do I just stand here? Bazemore has always been a guy with questionable shot selection, and you know, on a good day he's a 3-and-D guy. On a bad day he's like J.R. Smith, but not the good J.R. Smith. So it's been tough. Now, if we get to the actual numbers and stuff, and again, I do think there's a trade to be made for this team, but the actual numbers, they're like 11th in offensive rating, 22nd in defensive. I'm not really worried about the offense. I think CJ is going to make more shots. He's been super efficient his whole career. I'm assuming that's just going to turn around for him. Dame, of course, has been on fire. The dude just dropped 60. And then I feel like Stotts is going to figure out, or already has, that Anthony Simons just needs to play more. I mean, they've been hyping this kid up, and up to this point, he looks pretty good. I mean, he can make shots, and he can do some stuff off the dribble. The fear is that he, Dame, and CJ are just short, but I feel like, one, with their defensive system, which has made blah defenders look a lot better than they actually are for years. Two, I mean, how many teams are really talented enough to just go at that, you know? Like, yeah, there are some teams that are just going to be way too big, but not every team. So I feel like that will sort the offense out. Also, I said CJ has been one of the most efficient guys. He actually hasn't been, like, elite efficient, but he's certainly been way more efficient than he's been so far. Now, if we talk about the defense, where they're 20-something, some people would look at this and say Whiteside, and to be fair, you are kind of right. But I don't think Whiteside is killing this team. He's certainly not helping. He's just kind of out there. His box score numbers look pretty cool, but the screen setting, the lack of rim protection, it's Hassan Whiteside. We all knew this going into it, right? The guy has a great 5 minutes. The rest of the game, he sucks. Well, maybe not sucks, but he's just kind of whatever. But with that being said, he's certainly doing a lot better than like Skal Labissiere and Anthony Tolliver and, well, actually, I will say, Skal's advanced stuff is actually really good. He has been great in the on-off numbers and stuff, and I don't know how much that we really should care about that. I mean, I haven't really focused on him defensively when I've watched them, so there's a chance he's been awesome on defense. I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see on him. In the case of Tolliver, though, it's been pretty bad. Whiteside himself has like a positive 1 net rating, which, again, not great, but not bad. And I feel like the Blazers' real troubles come when they start getting into the depth, because the depth is kind of non-existent right now, especially with that Zach Collins injury. I mean, they were playing Nasir Little last night against the Nets, and he had some minutes. He had some moments that were all right. At the same time, the Nets also attacked him in ISO time and time again. They also left him wide open on Dame pick and rolls, so, it's a mixed bag. But they might just have to do that. Like, they're going to have to go to him. They might have to go to Gary Trent Jr. He played 13 minutes last night. I think Stotts hopefully has realized that Tolliver sucks. I mean, Tolliver was legit like 2 years ago for the Pistons, but he played 5 minutes last night. He hasn't been good pretty much at all. If they're not going to play Labissiere, then I really don't know what they do at backup 5. I mean, they might have to grab somebody just real quick in free agency or bring somebody up from the G League because there's not a lot of options there. I mean, hell, I can't even confidently say who their power forward should be. I mean, I guess Rodney Hood would be the closest thing to that if Tolliver's just going to be this bad. If anything, just because Hood's like, 6'8"? I mean, everybody else in this team is like between 6'2", 6'3", and like 6'6". I mean, and then it's Whiteside, so there's that. Unless you want to try Scal at the 4, which could be a little bit of a risk because he's not much of a shooter. I don't know. They do have some things to decide on with the lineups, and there's going to be times when they're probably just looking a little small, which you can deal with, but it could just be tough. And, for what it's worth, to be positive, I mean, most of their games have been close, if I didn't already mention this. Like, they lost to the Nets by 4, they lost to... I think they've had like one 1-point loss, another like 3 or 4 point loss, like... They're not getting destroyed out there, so there's that. Anyway, talking about trades. Of course, they can't really do anything until, December 15th? But once that day hits, they should probably get a power forward immediately. I mean, the easy thing to say is they just get someone from the Knicks, whether it's Marcus Morris or Bobby Portis or Julius Randle or... who else is on that team? Whoever, just one of the Knicks' many power forwards. Of course, some people want them to trade for Blake or Kevin Love. I don't really think the Pistons are going to trade Blake. I think they're just going to try to be as good as possible. Kevin Love is probably a little more attainable, but even so, like Cleveland has said they want to hold on to him. I think it makes some sense to keep him because... I don't know, you try to make Garland and Sexton's life easier, but maybe they just want to bottom out as much as they can. In that case, it could make sense to trade for Kevin Love. But even then, between the contract length and his injury history, I mean, the guy played 22 games last year, that is some scary stuff. I mean, you don't want to give up a bunch of things for him and then he doesn't play for you, right? I guess Gallo's name has been out there a little bit. And real quick, I mean, everybody knows this, but I'll just say it. The way to make these moves happen would be Bazemore's expiring, salary throw-ins, and then they've got all their picks moving forward. I don't really think they should trade Whiteside because they're pretty damn thin at center. But anyway, I've seen Gallo's name floated around. I think that would definitely work. The one thing with Gallo is he's on a 1-year deal, which I don't even know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just interesting. I mean... chance you let him walk, chance you re-sign him, I don't know. And there's some fear with his injury stuff as well. I mean, last season was considered a healthy year for him. He played 68 games. The year before that, it was 21, and then... Now, the one thing with Gallo, though, is couldn't they trade for him, like, right now? He wasn't signed this offseason. He was traded. And they traded for Bazemore, so I guess... the salaries are close at that point. I don't know. I know about the free agent rule. I don't know if there's a being traded in the offseason rule as well. Regardless, Gallo could definitely work. That's about all I got. Portland needs to turn it around because the West still going to be tough, even if like the Warriors aren't as good and whatever else. So, yeah.